Good afternoon, everybody. I would kindly ask you to take your seats if you have one. If you don't, we are live streaming this lecture also in the next lecture room. So if your friends cannot get in, you can text them that they can enter the next room and enjoy the lecture very closely, but not directly. So today we are here on the second day of the celebration of 150th anniversary of Jožef Plečnik's birthday. And I'm really happy that even though it's Saturday, this lecture hall is full as it hasn't been for years. So it's an honor to us who struggled to make this event as insightful as it could be. But also we had tremendous luck, I must say. And one of these lucks is the occasion that Professor Kengo Kuma is in this part of Europe and he's willingly enough to come to Ljubljana to give us a lecture. I'm also very happy and honored to have Ambassador to Japan joining us on this occasion. Welcome. But now, before the floor is given to Professor, I would like to ask Darko Radovic, a long friend of Professor Kuma, to give us some introductory speech.
Thank you. Actually, I will fail your expectations because I think you all came because you know who Kengo Kuma is. And I believe that 99% or more like his work and what he does. So mine will be just a very, very small effort to introduce Kuma-san in the way that provides kind of contextualization here. So we met many years ago when one friend whom we have in common, Kodama Yuichiro sensei, introduced us. And Kuma-san told me, please, next time when you come to Japan, let's catch up properly. So I came to his house, to his office, and I was waiting for him in the library. And of course, like in any decent library, there are books. And there was the whole wall of books. And you know, being from this part of the world in broader sense, my eye were captured by some titles. There was something like this on the shelf: Plečnik, 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 Plečnik. If I remember well, there were 4 books, maybe 3, maybe I'm overdoing it a little bit. Anyway, so at the moment when Kuma-san entered, we had a starting point. I said, I see you like Plečnik. He said, oh, his details are fantastic. And so that is that. I just wanted to contextualize Kuma-san as somebody whom, as Matej said, I know for many years. And I know him as a person, as a human being, as a colleague whom is wonderful to introduce. As an architect, you already know him. And after today, I think probably you will know even better because he might be speaking about some future steps that none of us really knows. So Kuma-san, arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you, Darko, for explaining the story between us. The Plečnik books were the beginning of our friendship. And actually, I visited Ljubljana. My first visit is 1992, as 30 years ago. And I was so impressed by his works. And by Plečnik book, I already know the beauty of the buildings, beauty of design, but here, as I got to know the public space. The public space, the activity of public space is not easy to understand by books, by photo. But if I walk on the street and walk on the piazza, I finally could understand his intention behind his design. And I was so influenced by his works. And then 30 years after, I can come again to this beautiful city, but it's a big change, actually. And so in front of the station, the impression of the Ljubljana is is not like Ljubljana. It's like a big city. And also the Plečnik house I visited today. The impression of his house 30 years ago was just quiet house in the suburb. But now it is in the city, totally in the city. The house, the many buildings around his house. This is totally is a different atmosphere, but it is okay. It's just maybe is a Plečnik is a kind of position of Plečnik in the architectural history is getting higher and higher because what he did is a kind of the sustainable design, and also he's was a kind of pioneer to combine history and public space. And it's very important for us. And today, I bring some slide to explain the relationship with Plečnik and me, but also I want to think with you about the future public design. And the COVID, after COVID, we should go to the next step of urban design and architectural design. And simply said, the history of urban design before 20th century is going to centralization, going to the big volume. And as the final goal was urban design before 20th century was creating the huge building, huge box. And skyscrapers was a good example of that kind of big volume. But that the step, the slope, what's happened after the climbing the slope? We finally understand the big disaster is waiting for us after that big slope. And what we should do now is going back to nature again and going back to the ground. So not climbing, going back to the ground. It's a big lesson of COVID, I think. And then now we are facing the big turning point of the history of urban design. And then in that sense, we are very lucky because we finally get to know what should we do now, and I want to think about our future step. And the first image I prepared today. Where is the sensor? Sensor is this. This isn't. Okay. Okay. This is a observation deck I designed 1994. So after coming back from Ljubljana, and as 1994, I want to explain about the Japanese condition in 1994. 1980s, the economy was Japan was a kind of booming era, as there happened many huge project in Tokyo 1980s. We call that era bubble economy era. But the bubble economy suddenly collapsed as the year 1991. And so most of my projects in Tokyo were cancelled. So no project in Tokyo area. So I started my practice in 1986. So in the peak of bubble era, but as 1991, all Tokyo project cancelled. and then 1992 I came to the Briannas, and 1994 I designed this building. It is a countryside of Japan. It's on the island. You see the oceans. It's this island. The top of the island, the mayor wanted to have the monument. It creates a monument on the mountain. It is kind of typical mentality of politician. Some kind of politician always monument. And in Japan, especially before 1980s, we had that kind of politicians in every town, city, village. Everybody wanted to have their own monument. But this politician is a nice person, but he also wanted to have the monument on the mountain. And I was so shocked to hear his idea. And I did some the strange proposal for him. You need a viewing deck on the mountain. It is okay because from top of the mountain, the view is great. It is okay. But why we should build the monumental tower on the mountain? We just need the viewing spot on the mountain. And maybe he couldn't understand what I say. But anyway, I proposed this scheme to him, and finally he agreed with my idea. This is view from the sky. Now, this is just after completion. There are no trees, but now it is almost hidden by the trees. And to have the green is very important for Plečnik. So today, as I checked again his scheme, he did use trees to hide the building, to hide the monument. From the approach to the stations, the big monument was covered by 3 trees, and he smartly did use trees to create harmony between the spaces. It is for this project, I also want to use a tree to hide this hole. But and also before we joined the project, the top of the mountain this part. You can see this level. The top of the mountain was cut to make the flatland, and it is very, very pity as a condition for the. But it's good for monument, they thought, but it is totally against my idea. And then we have this the method. This is they cut the mountain like that. And we want to recover the original silhouette like that. So this is a space we created on the top of mountain. I'm going back to the. Yeah, this is. Sorry. This is easy to understand. This is they cut the mountain like that. This is a space we created here. The viewing deck, the 2 viewing deck, and some space for as a concert and performance in the center, but totally covered by green. It is disappearing space, and as I learned that method from Plečnik, and this is a plan, This is the entrance. This is look up the street. This is a space we created. Actually, the 500 people can sit on this space, and many interesting concerts happening in this space. And now, this image is maybe 3-4 years after the completion. The tree glows and the building is disappearing. This is what we intended. This is my ideal image. This disappeared. but maybe this is totally against the original idea of the politician. But for people, this kind of nature is a goal of project. And the next project also sitting in the similar environment. This is a Kitakami Canal. Kitakami Canal is one of the oldest canal in Japan, in the up north area. Kitakami Canal Museum. So again, the photos is showing my intention. This is the building, but building is almost disappearing in the environment. Yes, and there's a client is the Ministry of Construction in Japan. It's a governmental project. I was invited to the symposium about the future of river. And the Japanese government, before this project happened, the new law came to us. The new law is saying the riverfront area should be open to public. Before the riverfront area, nothing can be built. But as a new law the riverfront area is a public area. Some building can be built. It is a new law, and then that symposium is about how to use the riverside area, and one officer explained about the new project in this site. And I was so shocked to see the scheme, because this is a museum, but the image he showed us is like the French chateau. Wow, it looks like some kind of hotel. You understand? Some kind of hotel is the hotel for lovers, is that kind of hotel. So in Japan, we often have the hotel like chateau, the French chateau, and he explained the riverside area as a model, the building can be some riverside chateau in France. Why chateau in France in 21st century? And I was so shocked. And that symposium was organized by the government, and how to react to that building. But I should say something to them. And this project is carefully designed, you said, but it looks like French some hotel. But most of the audience basically agreed with my comment. And after the symposium, the officers came to my office, and they are very smart. And Kama-san, we are very shocked to hear your opinion on the project. And please advise to our project. And what should be the ideal solution for the waterfront area? And then I made a sketch of this building. The building should be hidden, should be merged into the river as a bank of river. And then they decided to change the project and I think it becomes the model of the new public space besides the river. It is a museum and also the people can escape into this building if the tsunami and earthquake happens. But on the top of the building, it's a plan of the building. This is plan of the building, but top of the building is totally open to public, so people can use this as a space if some disaster happens. This is the entrance of the building, and after completion of the building, many taxi drivers complains, no entrance. We cannot find entrance, but it is as important. As a hidden entrance is ideal as approach for this kind of building. This plaza is open to river, and this is as a small museum is the bottom. As the kids likes this kind of space. It looks like the small slit on the mound, as a mound of river. And another similar approach project is a bridge. The bridge is, as you know, is very important theme for Plečnik. Of course, maybe you know better than me. So, this is a town. I want to explain the context of this place. This is Minami Sanrik town, the upper north area. The Minami Sanrik was one of the most damaged town by tsunami and earthquake. It happened 2011. And as only in that town, around 8,000 people died by tsunami, and the government decided to raise the land, 10 meters, to avoid the tsunami. And the raise the land 10 meters means everything disappeared. And as a mayor asked me to do the new master plan for the town, and as the scheme is very simple. This is sorry, it is difficult to understand. Sorry. Wow. Yeah, it is easy to explain. So this town is very close to Pacific Ocean, and the river is existing river, and this is a memorial park because many people died in this town. The memorial park, and this used to be the town hall. The town halls. This is the original town hall, and the people's as a disaster on that day, the people gathered in that town hall, because this is the highest the building in that area. But and people all gathered on the rooftop. But finally, the tsunami raised more than the rooftop, and then many people died on the rooftop. It is very, very sad story. Sorry. And then the people decided to preserve this building in the memorial park. And what we did for the master plan is a memorial park and this new street, it is a new city center, new town center, which should be connected by this as a symbolic bridge. And our idea is the main street should face Pacific Ocean, because Pacific Ocean still should be the center of their life. And then the access is very important for town, and also should be the low silhouette wooden building. There used to be like that, but after the tsunami, as a mayor also wanted to build a shopping center, big shopping center in that. And we are totally against that idea. The big concrete shopping center is not be the symbol of your town. Should be go back to wooden building, one-story wooden building, and finally we can persuade him to have this center. And this is the wooden bridge we designed. This is the view from sky. It's just a double arch bridge I learned from Plečnik. The higher bridge is open to the sky, and the lower bridge is connected to the river, and sky and waters are connected by the bridge. Bridge is connecting both sides of the rivers, but at the same time, this bridge is to connect sky and water, and in double meaning, it is connecting the opposite. And also, so we did use wood for the steel for the main structure of the building. Yeah, I should go back to some images of the bridge. Yeah, this is approach to the higher level. It is connecting the memorial park and the city, and we need some kind of special experience we thought. It's a pedestrian bridge, and you can see the sectional idea of this bridge. Okay, then going to the next project. It is Kusugibashi. It's another bridge project recently completed this year. And this is a bridge we designed. The story also starts from disaster. As you know, Japan has many typhoon, earthquake, tsunami, many as natural disasters we often have. And 4 years ago, the big flood destroys the old bridge. And the location, I want to explain the location of this bridge. It's in Yamaguchi Prefecture, and in the very deep valley. And the factory of the sake company sit. Sorry, it is difficult to manage. This side, right side, there is a factory of sake company. The sake's name is Dassai. Maybe ambassador knows Dassai. Dassai is very, very popular. It's to start from the small factory in the mountain, But now it's getting very popular, one of the most popular sake in Japan, Dassai. Please remember the name, Dassai. But before we did this project, we designed this small sake bar just beside the factory. Factory is here. This is a sake bar just adjacent to the factory. But this bridge was totally destroyed by the flood. And this building is also damaged a little bit by flood. And the wooden roof is merging into the environment. And after that disaster flood, the sake company decided to donate the new bridge to the city. And because they are a very successful company by Dassai, and that company and we as talking about what kind of bridge is fitting this environment. And our proposal is to use wood for the bridge. The main structure is still the concrete because in future another flood can come. But we did use a local wood for the bridge. And it is another learning from Plečnik. And in Japan, to use wood for the bridge is before 19th century it was usual, but after 20th century, nobody used the wood for the bridge. But we want to going back to the good tradition to merge such construction to the environment. And I also want to talk about the National Olympic Stadium for 2020 Olympic. Actually, it is postponed, and the 2021 Olympic. It is a stadium we designed, and the story of the stadium, the Olympic, is not simple. The first competition, the winning idea of the stadium was a huge concrete box. So the design-wise, it's not bad, but there's a very tall, big box. The maximum height is 70 meters. 70 meters is very high in this kind of environment. This is the center of Tokyo. And you see I want to explain the context. This is the forest, is the Royal Palace. And this is the Akasaka Royal Palace. It is the Shinjuku Gardens. And many forests still exist in the center of Tokyo. Tokyo is a big city, but we still have the forest. And the stadium site is adjacent to those beautiful forests. And also the shrine is Meiji Shrine is very close. And then the people think the harmony with the forest is most important for the stadium. But first, the winning scheme is not fitting the idea of that museum stadium in the forest. And then some the architects, the professors, did the protest to the project. And Professor Maki, Professor Maki was the leader of that movement. And actually, Professor Maki is the guy who recommended me as a Plečnik. And as Professor Maki pushed me to see the Plečnik building as 1992. And he respects as a Plečnik very much. And then the first the winning scheme was cancelled, and then the second competition happened, and we submit this scheme. The building height originally is 70 meters, but our proposed scheme is 50 meters. Height is drop the height, the height as possible as can. And the important strategy is that drop the ground level of the stadium. It's the same as Plečnik. The Plečnik is a stadium. The ground level is 4 meters down from the street level. It is very smart as a solution. We did also drop the ground level. It's 8 meters from the ground level drop. And also the use as a local material as possible as can, in this case wood. And as also instead of the air conditioned stadium by the first scheme, as is air conditioned as a stadium is designed for some commercial event. And but as we are against the air conditioned stadium, as we respect natural wind for the site, and then as we did have the slit for each floors to bring natural wind as possible as can into the building, and we did a computer simulation to calculate the flow of wind. And again, the green. The green is very important. It is just after completion, but now the trees grows and the building is now merging to the environment. And also the slit of those wooden louvers, as was decided by the computer simulation of natural wind, and this idea came from this old building. This is the wooden temple built 7th century. 7th century built wooden building still surviving. It is the oldest wooden building in the world. The secret of this long life is a section of the building. The series of roofs that creates the gap, and the wood for here is protected by the roof. And also natural wind can come through those slits. It is a very smart and very sustainable idea invented in 7th century. And so we applied that method to our building. And also, this is a public space in the stadium. Most of the stadium doesn't have that kind of public space. Stadium is a stadium, outside is outside. Nobody can get in the stadium. But our idea is we should open the stadium to the community, and as a community people should enjoy the stadium. That is our idea. And this is the raise from the ground, raise 30 meters from the ground, and from here, the view of Tokyo is spectacular. And it is my favorite space in the museum, the stadium. And also with green, we want to hide the handrail by green. And as a nighttime is also open to public, so with greens, the people can walk and people can work as after COVID. It is ideal working space after COVID. And this is another approach of the athlete. And this is interior. And again, we combine steel structure and the wooden structure to make the light impression to the building. And also we combine with photovoltaic panels. And sorry, it is difficult. This transparent the panels is working as photovoltaic panels. Looks like transparent glass, but it is actually generate as electric. And it's a new technology. We combine the old material wood and the new technology. And another as a favorite point of the design is the polychrome the seat for audience as spectators. And as you know, the Olympics happened as 2021 in the peak of COVID, and nobody can get in the building. But looks like full of people in the stadium because of the polychrome seat. And it's by coincidence. Many the people asked me, do you expect COVID is coming? But no. But what we thought is after Olympic, maybe some event can have the packed, but some event, the very few spectators. Even in that kind of bad condition, the stadium should look like vibrant and full of people. That intention is behind that as a color design. And today, again, I want to talk about the Plečnik. Plečnik bridges have many stone, concrete balls on the balustrade, and the intention of that concrete ball is to feel the people walking on the bridge. But actually, it is concrete balls, but the people feel the head of people moving on the bridge. The same intention as Plečnik is applied to his bridge, and I'm very impressed by that episode. And this is a wooden structure, public space, nighttime. And today's main theme is integration. As an integration with as a nature and city, and integration with as a public space and private space, and integration as a history and contemporary. Those integrations are very necessary in 21st century and in the era after COVID. The Victoria Albert Museum in Dundee, Scotland, we designed 2018. We learned many things from Seacliff. So this is my first sketch. So again, this is a building besides the river. This is a River Tay in Scotland. And this is not far from the ocean. And this used to be the port, river port. And but it's in 20th century, the warehouses and factories occupies waterfront area. And then the city and the waterfront are totally separated. And it's a big problem, as the people thought. And the city, the Scottish government decided to demolish those old warehouses and factory to make the new park along the River Tay. And this project, Victoria Albert Museum, is a symbol of that kind of the park. And then our proposal for the international competition is push the building into river to have the new integration with nature. And this is showing the relationship with river. And as for material, we should use robust material. So in this case, we did use precast concrete bar. It is again, it's very similar to the Plečnik approach. For the bridges, he did use the precast concrete as an element, and with the some aggregate, beautiful aggregate. The aggregate is giving this warm impression, natural impression to the concrete, and I learned that method to this building. And also the hall is important for this building. This hall, this passage is to bring people to the waterfront. Sorry. Before this building was built, the people didn't want to walk along the river because it's totally occupied by the industrial buildings. But after this building is completed, the waterfront areas becomes the most vibrant area in the city. And this is approach. This is the interior. And what we did in the interior is to use natural warm material as possible as can. And behind that theme, so we say, it's a living room for the city. And as most of the museum is space for art. But it is a definition of museum. But so what we propose for this museum is we should create a living room for the city. The community, it is open to community. It can be the relaxing space for the community, and they like our catchphrase very much, and they did use the copy, the big room for the city for their catalog and the bags. As a warm material for interior, local oak is used for interior. And the next project is under construction project in Paris, and it is a station, a Saint-Denis player station in Paris. And this district, north of Paris, has many problems. The big problem is the railway from north of France separates the district very much. And this side and other east side and the west side are totally divided by railway, and it's not good for community. And also the many immigrants are coming to this area, and it's this very dangerous area in Paris, and no public space. And in the competitions, we propose this station with park. So it is station, but it is working as public space, park, green on the station. And also bridge is close. It is a new bridge connecting east side and west side. Is totally integrated with the building. It's another integration. And for interior, we propose to use natural material as possible as can. And to use wood for the station is not easy, because for the station, building code is strict. Whereas we propose that idea to the city of Paris and the National Railway Company, and they supported our idea, because sustainability and anti-global warming is very important for public project, and they agreed with our idea. And it would be used for the main station for the Olympic in 2024. Saint-Denis station is just there, and the Olympic Village is just there. And now the construction is very, very busy, and to fit the schedule. And next project is another integration. It is a building in the University of Tokyo, the Tokoda University. And it is a view from sky, so I want to explain by using this. And it is sitting on the entrance of the university. As Daruko-san studied at this university, he knows better than me. As an entrance, and the impression of the entrance should be very natural and as very environmental, as we think. And if we have the big concrete box on the entrance, that box will block the view from the gate to the campus, and then we brought the green on the rooftop, and also rooftop is also open to the public. And as of course, make building height as low as possible, and this is the atmosphere of interior space. And after those examples, today I prepared some of the possible scenario for the stadium of Plečnik. As I heard that the stadium is now facing some big controversy, and we prepared some of the scenario, but it is just as a materials which can give you some hint as we want to talk about what can be the solution for this kind of project. And as we wrote, the stadium is a hidden gem in the middle of the city. Yes, it's true, very true, with huge potential. However, it is now abandoned and has unfortunately been left to decay. Sorry. And the strategy scenarios, we have envisioned two families of scenarios for the stadium. One group is parks, scenario working with green and water elements. And the second scenario is architecture, the scenario with structural element, but not normal architecture. And so we have those list of scenarios. And for creating park, so we can have some options: mirror, pond, waterscape, and stonescape. And the stone is very important for this city, as Plečnik mentioned. And as the second family is architectural solution. The greenhouse, the exhibition hall, that is also possible, but it should not be the normal architecture. It merge into the environment. So these are some references we use for first scenarios. So water has been used as a mirror element in order to establish a relationship between the existing architecture and the new intervention. And we often use water to merge the green and building. The main volume of the stadium is a shelter, Pennsylvania's on the west side. The idea is to mirror the volume on the east side in dialogue with the Plečnik pavilion. The Plečnik pavilion is here. And the level, it's a dropped as a level, the 4 meter down from the street level. And that suggests to have a dense forest in the center, a new mass of green space where initially we had avoided. And to create the forest in the center of the city is also the very new idea. We then create an opening in the center with a water feature, the mirror. The mirror will connect ideally the two architecture pavilions, the new and the old. The new volume will contain a small gallery directly linked with the portico on the east entrance. It's echoing each other two pavilions. One pavilion is also already beautiful, but the two the mirrored pavilions can have as a further effect, something like that. The two pavilions are echoing each other to have the special event between two pavilions. And also the pond is possible. And the combination of pond and the wooden pavilion. The wooden pavilion in the center, the floating on the pond can be the solution, something like that. Something like that. Sorry, it is difficult to control. The third is a waterscape. This is our scheme for the Singaporean project. It is the Singaporean important project, the Founders Memorial. The founder is Lee Kuan Yew. He is founded the country named Singapore. The building is also merging into environment, something like that. Something like that. The framing is a shape of a stadium, but inside is a totally opposite. Very natural, soft carved geometry as margin environment. The stonescape can be another option to use stone to create new type of landscape. This kind of new landscape. Yes, again, the geometry should be soft as possible, and something like that. And those options is create some interior space, exhibition hall, something like that, and something like that. It's a very light and transparent structure is merging into the forest. And the greenhouse also can be the one solution. It's another light structure to cover the stadium space. Use wood and transparent membrane to create this kind of space. It's a greenhouse. It's an experimental greenhouse to do the research about the new farming, the new sustainable farming. And those are just the scenarios. And I want to give you some hint to think about the place. And but anyway, the stadium has a big potential, we feel. What Plečnik did for the stadium is belonging to future, we believe. So he is already show us the good example of the age of sustainability, and so we should follow his idea, and we should work with him. And today is the beginning of that kind of conversation. Thank you very much.
For your lecture. Would there be any questions from the audience? Please.
I can ask. Hello. I mean, first of all, thank you for these Plečnik proposals. It's really great to see, and I think it's in the right moment. But I have another question related to wood, because we all admire basically Japanese tradition of treating wood, but also your work. I wonder, how do you choose wood for your projects? What kind of wood? Do you have any decisions? What kind of wood you use for different projects? How you treat it? Do you how you treat the details, and also how do you decide when it's cut, how it's cut, these kind of things? This is my question. Thank you.
Yeah, and basically, to use local wood is very important. And after Second World War, we Japanese imported the wood from America, Canada, Russia, because those wood are much cheaper than Japanese wood. And but it was not good for for environment, because the wood itself can be the solution against global warming, but the transportation process we cannot save energy, and also the CO2 is not good for the environment. And then recently we try to use local wood as possible as can, and the National Stadium, we did use all Japanese wood from every prefecture of Japan. So as a wood, the good thing of wood is wood has character. Wood has a local character, and Japan is a small country, but from north to south, we are producing different type of wood and different characters, different grains. I want to show that kind of diversity, because many people are saying Japanese has no diversity. We are very much criticized, but as I want to show the diversity, and also Plečnik did use wood in the same way. He did use spruce, local spruce. The spruce is not expensive wood. And the furniture he did design for the school chairs, he used local spruce. So it is a inexpensive wood, but looks like very sensitive and very precise. It's beautiful design. It's a power of design of him. So with some good design, so we can pick up the quality and the essence of wood. I want to talk that method. Okay.
Any more questions?
Thank you. Also from my side, my name is Tadeja. I wonder how you immerse into new situations, new contexts. What is your immersion? I would not say method, but the mode you change from the old to the new context.
The context of the
of a project. For example, when you move to another project, there is a new context, and how do you immerse into the situation?
Yeah, so I'm very much interested in participate in the project as a friend, and as architects, as designers, in the 20th century, some as architects as the design, and from that point, upper point, look down at the whole project and gives the idea from high point, base point. But I want to be sitting on the same level, and to work together to hear the people's opinions of the project. And that kind of approach is very important of our period. And in the countryside project, especially the countryside project, that we are enjoying to work with them, to work with the local craftsmen, and work with the local activists, and the dance, and that kind of the relationship is very important for the project. And to participate as a friend, as a kind of friend, is a very exciting experience for me, because we can learn many things from locals. It's a conversation with place, and that is the basis of my interest on the project.
Thank you for the lecture. I was very impressed with your wish to ensure public access in all the buildings that you showed. And I'm wondering if you could tell us more about how you negotiate this publicness, especially in tough cases like, for example, Saint-Denis, where maintenance costs and security issues are probably a big problem.
Actually, we should discuss about that kind of issue with the people. For example, the talk with the client is very important. And good thing is for us is we are facing the new condition of the society. People are very much interested in creating public open space, and as a maintenance-wise, to open the space to public is a little bit difficult sometimes. The maintenance costs can be raised. For example, the Olympic stadiums are public. We call it the sky pedestrian as a pass. We need we Tokyo citizens should pay that kind of pass for the maintenance, and also the green. So if we have the green, the maintenance of the green is not so small, but if people want to have the green on the public building, and so we can find a solution for the maintenance cost. And of course, we selected the plants which needs less maintenance cost. It is wildflowers from Tokyo area. It is less maintenance cost, but still, we should think about the maintenance. And maybe what Plečnik did for the city, also have trees, sometimes raise the maintenance cost. But it is, if people accept that kind of idea, it is very necessary for community. If not, we should live in the town without trees. That is a kind of sad situation.
Hello, thank you for a lecture, and my question is related exactly to that. It seems that you are always thinking about landscape architecture together with architecture, so build and greenery is like the material that you use. So how do you actually treat it? Like you conceptualize it, but then when you have to build it, how do you negotiate between the build and unbuild and incorporation of the landscape architecture into your work?
As a collaboration with landscape designers is very important for every project. And from the beginning of project, we start to discuss with the landscape designers what type of landscape design is fitting the goal of the project, and also from the beginning we should talk about the maintenance cost of landscape, and then to work with which landscape designer is very important. And as the lesson today, the Plečnik visit, is he also worked with the gardener, his friends, and the communication is very good. So if landscape designers insist on his design, we cannot have that kind of good communication. And the architects as well, we should not insist on our design. We should, the compromise is very necessary for future design. And we have actually, we have the in-house landscape design team. In Japan, we have the very good tradition of gardener. As you know, the Japanese garden, the maintenance is very important. The Japanese gardener knows how to do the maintenance. And from that kind of company, as a gardener's company, so we recruited some of the excellent gardener, and we are working together in our office. But of course, we are working with outside landscape designer, that kind of collaboration is very helpful to integrate architecture and landscape.
In one lecture many years ago, you addressed the difference between mentality and also painterly tradition of Japan with fine lines and with transparency, and Europe with saturated color and many amount of color with Van Gogh and so on. It's obvious where you see yourself, because your architecture is from fine lines, but where do you see Plečnik in this tradition?
Europe is talking about the contrast between Europe and Japan. We don't need to find the difference. We have the long history of influence each other, stimulate each other, and for example, even in 20th century, there are many history about exchange. European architects, for example, American architect Frank Lloyd Wright came to Japan, and he worked with Japanese craftsmen, and he learned the method of transparency from Japanese architecture. But after the Frank Lloyd Wright building, many Japanese learned from Frank Lloyd Wright, the back and forth relationship. if we try to find the difference, it will make the divide deeper and deeper. Not necessary to talk about the difference. We should enjoy the exchange between the two places.
So, Professor Kuma, thank you very much. Before we end today's lecture and discussion, I would like to express my deep gratitude and thankfulness to Gaspar Medvešek, who managed the organization of this today's events. So, Gaspar, thank you very much. And I would also like to express one more thought. I see your today's presentation and the way you expressed your concern about the future of Plečnik Stadium as a really important symbolic gesture. And I really thank you for this. And as we have today also the representative of the Ministry of Culture here today, I hope that this gesture will show that internationally renowned architect is concerned about the future of Jože Plečnik, that the state of Slovenia should also be. So, Kenga Kuma, thank you, and I hope your voice will be heard in this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you.